Hi, my name's Arnie Shields. I'm a chartered accountant, which is like a CPA. And so I've got about 500-600 Amazon clients. Plus, we've got an Amazon business ourselves. And we started up our Amazon business really just to understand how the reports worked within Amazon and what data to get for Amazon. Since then, that Amazon business has grown. So we've now got a multi-million-dollar Amazon business. But what it's given me is an in-depth understanding of how the Amazon structure works and how businesses work. And so it enables us to provide a very different viewpoint in terms of how this whole business works. And one of the keys to this whole business is really the cash flow. And cash flow will decide whether you succeed or fail in this business. It'll determine whether it's an easy business or whether it's a nightmare. If you're always worried about how you're going to pay for the next order, putting more money into the business, wondering when it's going to, money's going to move the other way, it's not going to be much fun. But your Amazon business has got this great opportunity to have fun and a business that you'll really enjoy running. And you've got the opportunity now to decide what type of business you're going to have. Every business, big and small, is constrained by cash flow. So cash flow is basically the movement of money in and out of your business. We talk about cash flow in tactical and strategic viewpoints. So tactical, how am I going to pay my expenses today? How am I going to this week, this month, juggling money, paying money into credit cards, etc. Strategic cash flow is how much money am I going to have in 6 months, in 2 years' time? Is my business going to be able to fund itself, or am I going to be able to put some money into it? Now, some sellers' Amazon business is structured in such a way that they will always need to borrow more money. And as it gets bigger, they just need to borrow more and more. So I'm going to show you how to set up and run an Amazon business that funds itself, a business that grows on its own profits. So you're going to see you're going to hear a lot of conflicting information from numerous sources in your Amazon journey. Sell fast, sell slow, don't do this, do this. And it's important to remember what stage of the business you're at. Because this advice could be very valid advice, but not for you yet. So I wanted to explain a bit about how your business is going to grow over the next couple of years and what you need to concentrate on now. So this process that we're looking at is a sustainable process. It doesn't require lots of capital other than your normal investments. And it grows by investing your profits each year. So there's 4 phases: the start phase, the establishing the base phase, expansion phase, and consolidation phase. So let's go into it. The start phase is your first product. Now, the objectives in this start phase are pretty simple. One is to validate the product. Do people want to buy this product at a profitable price? I see some people who validate their product at an unprofitable price because they give it away. We use a low price as a launch strategy, then buy more product because it's been selling so well, and it just sits there because they can't sell it at a high price. So I always say you want to validate this product at a profitable price, and you'll see the effect. I'll show you soon of the effect of a profitable price and what that means to your business. Next, we're going to validate the system. So this is just all in the start phase. Does the system work? Did you understand the system properly? And can we get our products to rank organically on Amazon and get organic sales? Next thing you want to do, start selling. We want to stabilize that inventory. And that's keeping your product in stock, taking into account increasing sales as you optimize your listings and get better rankings. And this might mean your first order is 500 units and the next order is 750 and then 1,000 or 2,000 units. It might be you've stabilized your inventory when each order is 2,000 units at a time. And the other thing we want to do is we want to build up our working capital. So working capital in an Amazon business is pretty simple. It's just cash and inventory. So we want to build up those cash reserves to launch our new product. Now, we work at a budget of around $10,000 to $15,000 to launch a new product. That includes the first order, the launch costs, and about half of our second order. So we haven't all the money in yet from the sales of the first product. So we need a little bit more extra there. So we say half of the second order. So during this phase, we're learning about the market, how the product fits in, what customers respond to, and where, who are your customers, the demographics of them, and then who are your competitors and what strategies do they employ. What we're looking at this stage is how we can turn our initial $10,000 into around $20,000 to $30,000 in working capital. That means you need to make about $10,000 to $20,000 in profits. Okay, you've got to be in this stage for probably 6 to 12 months, and in this period, I consider a really success if you've got between $50,000 and $100,000 in sales. Okay, fantastic. $100,000, absolutely, done really well. But if you can get to $50,000 to $75,000, perfect. That is a great first year start because that gives you the next stage to move on to the next part of it. At this stage, we're keeping costs really low. We're not spending money on anything other than helium-10. So we've got helium-10 to do the research, and that's all we need at this point. There's lots of shining objects out there. They're not for you. Just keep expenses really low. You don't need any accounting software at this stage. You don't need, because we can do that later, just keep a spreadsheet for that. We don't need a Shopify site at the moment. Your object is to prove sales on Amazon. That's all you need to do. So the other thing is, at this stage, unfortunately, we're not paying a wage. All the profits you make are going back into buying more inventory. Okay, so let's look at the next stage. The establishing base phase is your second, third, and fourth product. And what you're looking to do here is you're able to build up this base. So your working capital, your stock and cash and inventory, we want to build that up from that 20 to 30,000. We want to start to build that up to 50 to 70,000 because that's going to give you enough money to hit the next stage, which is the expansion stage, where you're going to have to move very quickly. So we want to build up that base at this stage. And what we're doing at this point is, in the start phase, we got to launch the product, we got it ranked and developed. Now in the establishing base phase, we're proving to ourselves that it wasn't a fluke. Can we do this again? Have we got a system that we can use to actually make this work? So we're looking at launching the second, third, and fourth products. You're going to be putting in some accounting systems in this stage, but at this stage, like zero, but your business is now starting to make money. So you can afford to do it. You can afford to spend the money on the extra subscriptions. It's starting to get more complex along the way, but really it's still pretty much a simple business. Unfortunately, we're still not paying salaries at this stage because what we're doing is we're building up that cash for a big expansion into the next phase. All the money just gets put back into buying more and more inventory. It starts to get a bit easier in terms of launching products because the cash flow, you've now got 3 products all moving toward helping you buy the fourth product. The next stage is your expansion stage. This is where we take it from 4 products to 15 to 20 products. During this stage, you will see your profits rise from $50,000 to $70,000 a year to $203,000 to $300,000. We're looking to move that business towards $1 million business, $1 million in sales. You've got a stable system in place. You know how to rank everything else there. Your business is profitable. It's you've got enough cash flow in there. And what's happening at this stage, a couple of things happen. One of them is it becomes much easier to launch new products. And towards the end of this stage, you can find that you can start to pay yourself a salary along the way. But it's what we found with all our clients, any of the clients that had all of the clients over $1 million in sales all paid themselves a salary, and all the clients under $1 million didn't pay themselves a salary. So it gives you a tip of where that tipping point is for a salary. That's the point you need to get to. Okay, and when we say salary, that is a decent salary, $100,000 US a year. We start looking at things like forecasting and other bits that we need running a proper business at this stage. We're now kind of, rather than launching products every 3 months, we'll be able to launch every month along the way. And then the fourth stage is this consolidation phase. Basically, everything breaks. along the way. So every time you triple the size of your business, everything breaks. So it's about reworking it, building it into a business that is a different type of business. You're actually putting on employees, you're putting on teams, you're working through just changing the business around. You're also going to start going to different countries at this stage, reducing the risk of your business, working out. This is when you can really pay yourself a salary. So getting back to the objectives of the first starting stage. Firstly, we're going to learn to sell. First object, learn to sell. We're going to validate our product. We're going to validate the system, stabilize the inventory, and then we're getting our product to rank organically. The object at the end of this is we want to build that working capital up to $10,000 to $20,000. Now, we're going to be in this stage for 6 to 12 months. Just one product, no variations. Common mistake that people make in this early stage is they start with 2 or 3 products. And it just means they end up with one product that goes really well, that goes out of stock because all their money's held up in their product that's not doing so well. Okay? Our object is to maximize profits, not maximize sales at this point. So now we've gotten to that point of we're in the initial start stage. Our object is to maximize profits and build up the cash flow. So what are the factors in building that cash flow? What are the levers we get to use? So we've got basically 3 factors. Gross profit rate of growth, and inventory cycle. And they're all kind of related. Your ability to grow and build your business position, whether it's delivering you $100,000 a year, $300,000 or $1 million a year, will depend on your cash flow. So your business has the ability to grow quite rapidly. Yeah, you can turn $100,000 and with $10,000 investment into a multi-million-dollar business over a short period of time. And we've done it, and a number of our clients have done it as well. So here are the things that are going to affect your cash flow. First one is gross profit rate. So gross profit is gross profit divided by sales. I'll go into more detail, but the key factor in your gross profit rate is your sale price, because you have direct influence over it. A lot of the other things in your gross profit, you actually don't have any influence over. But the higher the gross profit, the more cash it will generate, the faster you can grow. The rate of growth. So the faster you grow, the more money the business will need. So the faster you grow also increases the risk of the business. And then inventory cycle is how quickly you can turn that inventory around. So let's look at the gross profit rate. So quick little diagram here table on how the gross profit rates looks. In essence, we want to have a gross profit rate between 30 and 35%. So it's before advertising, but after product costs, after FBA fees, seller commissions, other Amazon costs, your 3PL costs. We want to hit that position of around 30 to 35%, because we are going to have to spend 10 to 15% on advertising. So it brings our kind of net profit after advertising down to 20% level. If it's lower than 30%, you're going to have problems growing. You're going to have cash flow problems in that your business is never going to generate enough money to grow at the rate you want it to. Okay, so we want that to be this gross profit at 30 to 35%. If it's lower, you're going to have to do either of 2 things. 1, grow slower, or 2, you're going to have to borrow money and keep on borrowing money to fund the business. So when we talked before about people whose businesses always needed more and more money, the principal reason is because they had a really low gross profit rate, under 30%. Okay, it started causing problems for them. They're getting the sales and it's all cool, and yes, they're growing rapidly, but they've got no money and they keep on running out. Okay, I wanted to show you some effect of discounting. There's always a continual push within Amazon, lower prices, discounts, deals. And your competitors are also pushing towards being the lowest price. The lowest price is most of the time probably going to sell the most. But let's look at some of the numbers.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Skyrock cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USPTO, tuần theo LIêN, chương trình Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.
Involved in that. We also have to remember what stage of the Amazon business journey we're up to. So we're at the start stage. Our objective is to build up our profits so that we can afford to launch a second product. Okay, pretty simple. We're just selling at the moment so we can get enough money to have 2 products running, and then 3 products. So I wanted to show you the effect of discounting. So here's a lot of numbers here. We only have to worry about the colored one. So we're selling this product at $25. The units, and it's selling 600 units a month. So pretty well, 20 units a day. So total sales for the month, 15,000, less all the Amazon costs, including tacos at 10%. We end up with a gross profit there of $3,750. Okay. Now, in order to sell 600 units, we've got inventory days of about 150. So that means we've got 30 days in manufacture, 50 in shipping, and about 70 days sitting in Amazon by the time that product's sold out. So we've got about 150 days of stock in inventory in Amazon in inventory. So that means we need to have at cost what we have to pay for, $19,500 worth of inventory to service $600 units in sales. Okay, so let's look what happens when we just discount it by 10%, small amount, $2.50 off. So we're decreasing the price from $25 to $22.50. Very small discount. We want to make the same level of profit. But in doing so, we've had to increase our sales by 43%, but it's almost 50%. So we've almost have to go from 20 units a day to 30 units a day just to cover the $2.50 we've dropped our price by. But the other factor is we're still earning the same amount of money, but we need another $8,500 in inventory. So to service 857 units a month, we're now going to need $27,000 worth of inventory. Okay? So the question is, where did that come from? Good question. Okay, so let's look at the next one. We're going to put a 20% discount down. So now, same type of thing. We're going to put $25 down to $20. We're increasing our sale, the number of units we have to sell from 600 to 1,500 to earn the same level of profit. And we've got to increase our sales, increase our inventory in place from $19,000 to $48,000. Okay, an extra $30,000 in inventory just to get the same level of profit. Okay, let's discount it one more time. Okay, we're now taking it down to a very low level. So in this case, we're taking it down to $17.50. So we're only making 4% on it. Okay, tiny margins, tiny Chinese level margins. We have to sell 10 times more. Okay, 10 times more. We need to have 10 times more inventory, an extra $180,000 worth of inventory just to service the same level of profit. Okay, this is where the saving we make. How are we going to end up with this level of profit? Yeah, $195,000 worth of profit. How are we going to fund that? And that's where people end up with a problem in terms of we've got to invest extra $180,000. Okay, that's where the problems. You have an ability to either have this business or have this business. Okay, discounting, especially at the early stages, there is grounds for discounting and selling at different prices later on. But in the beginning, in the start stage, it's really important you don't discount because you're not going to be able to grow. You're not going to be able to get beyond the first stage. You're not going to get to your second product because the cash flow won't let you get to the second product. Okay, growth rate. The faster you grow, the more cash you need. Okay, so what that means is you're basically paying for inventory before you get paid for selling it. Okay, conversely, along the way, you can slow your growth rate and you will conserve cash. You can even decrease your sales, and we've done that this year to improve our cash flow. So we've decreased our sales, mainly by turning off some more expensive advertising, and we've actually increased our profit and also increased our cash flow. Okay, so the next one is the inventory cycle. So the faster you can turn over your inventory, the less cash you'll use. So you want to order enough that you satisfy demand and have enough time to reorder. So we've got this type of diagram, okay? If we looked at these peaks in this graph, it's how far those are apart, okay? Now, in the beginning, for the first couple of years, we used to place these orders every 3 months. So we'd try and place bigger orders so we get volume discounts, we'd fill a container, and then to get the inventory, the ship freight cheaper, and then we'd send that into Amazon. Last 2 years, 3 years, that became a little bit more tricky, and we ended up with 3PLs and a whole bunch of other stuff. But what also did was it tied up an enormous amount of cash and inventory. And there was always a risk that savings that we made in freight, and because we had everything in one container, was going to be, we basically had 3 months worth of inventory sitting in a container, and it would be stuck off the coast of LA, or delayed in customs, or sitting in a truck outside Amazon waiting to get in. Okay. The other thing we did is we sent all our stock from China into the US. What that meant is we paid full freight and full duties on that right at the beginning of the 3-month period. So about 18 months ago, I changed the system around, and mainly because an Australian that I know very well got a product called SKU in place. And SKU basically is a 3PL in China that enables you to send in inventory on a weekly basis into Amazon in a cost-efficient manner. So the first step was we got rid of our US 3PL, and all the new shipments went into China 3PL. Then rather than shipping to Amazon every month or every 3 months, we started to ship in every week. So every week, so we're basically just replacing what I sold last week. So every Monday, I open up my inventory spreadsheet and I send in basically what I've sold last month, and if it last week. And we're aiming to keep a buffer there. For us, it's about 48 days worth of stock in Amazon at one point. So rather than, it ended up changing a couple of things. Rather than everything being on one ship, our inventory is now on 7 ships over 7 different weeks. So if something gets stuck, it's not a disaster. And things will get stuck along the way. We will end up with products, customs issues, but because we've got this continual stream of product going into Amazon, if one shipment gets lost or delayed, it's not a great problem. So now we also place orders with the supplier rather than every 3 months, every month. So it really shortened that cycle up. So this cycle here, which used to be every 3 months, is now every month. The other one is because we're shipping in every week, we're paying freight and duties very close to when we're going to sell the product. This enables us to do a couple of things. One of it is that this enabled us to halve the value of our inventory that we're holding in stock. So we had $500,000 worth of inventory. We managed to halve that to $250,000 worth of inventory, servicing the same level of sales just by doing this system. So we freed up $250,000 worth of cash in our business. Okay, these 3 factors, we have 3 drivers of cash flow. It's all a balancing act. Your sale price, your gross profit rate, how quickly you grow in your inventory cycle. So if you've got a product really selling really well, say your first product gets in there and it starts selling well, you need to place another order, but you don't have enough cash yet. So what do? There's a couple of ways that people say, you just continue selling and sell out and then have a period where you're out of stock for it. I don't like being out of stock. You may end up out of stock once. I don't like being out of stock twice. But let's say, what would I do? Well, I would slow my growth, okay? because by slowing the growth, you conserve your cash. Okay? We're doing a couple of things by slowing the growth. We're delaying the time we have to reorder and build up enough cash to place that order. The other thing I'd be doing is turning off PPC and pushing up my price. It's going to increase the amount of cash that the businesses generate and delay the time. Now, how much you increase that price by is part of that balancing act. I always tell my clients, have you tried increasing your price? And they go, oh, no, I can't do that. So just try it. Just try increasing your price. And they go about the process of increasing the price. And they say, oh, I started to sell more as I increased my price. I said, yes, that's what happens. And you'll keep, quite often, as the people increase in price, their sales start increasing. And it gets to a point where there is a tipping point where suddenly it doesn't become more effective and sales start to drop off. Quite often, you'll find that as you increase your price, your sales actually increase rather than decrease to a point. So our object at the first stage is to not be the best seller, not be the one who's got the most sales. You can get a nice badge or something if you have the most sales. But really what we're looking to do is saving up enough money so we can launch product number 2. A couple of things I want to talk about was organic growth versus outside capital. So organic growth is using the internal cash flows of the business to fund the growth. Okay? It's slower, but it's less risky. And it means that you can end up with a significant business and your own investment in the business was $10,000. So the other thing it does is by relying on the profitability of the business to actually grow, it means that you're putting in the things that are right in the beginning. So when you get to the next stage, the expansion stage, you're actually ready to grow. You know how to make these products sell at a profitable price. The difficulty I see with people getting outside money in. So in the case of, they might be their own money or they might borrow money, but they see this issue of, I need to borrow more money to get this business, to get more inventory, to launch more products, whatever. And what they're doing is, their problem is they're hiding a problem that's within it. They're hiding a structural problem within their business that no matter how fast or hard they grow or how many sales they've got, they're always going to need more and more cash. Okay. The other thing is we look at inventory lending and a few things like that. And people say, oh, well, it's only for 3 months. Guaranteed it will never be 3 months. It'll be at least 6 months, if not more. A lot of businesses, when they borrow this inventory lending, they don't ever pay it back. It's always just rolled over and rolled over and rolled over, which ends up being really expensive. And because of the nature of the business, they need this ever-increasing loans as the business grows. Okay. Down below in the download section, there is a spreadsheet. Okay. If you want to hammock around with how fast you can grow and what your prices are and how that affects your cash flow, then you can use this spreadsheet. And here's just basically the dashboard on it. But basically, you can change the price, you can change the daily sales per product, you can increase over time the number of units, products you've got, you can change the pricing down below, and you can see in this little dashboard what happens to this. And this is the most important one, cash minimum level in year, okay? And if that goes red, that's money that you have to finance. It's a great tool. We've been using it for years. If you want to get a video explanation of how it works, you can go to donaldbateman.com.au/cash, and you can download it as well and watch the video of how it works. So that's available for you down below.
Yep.
In the end, cash flow determines the growth of your business. Cash flow will determine how many products you can order, and later whether you have enough to pay yourself a salary. A business with poor cash flow will always have problems growing. A business with good cash flow is lots of fun. It's your choice. You can decide what type of business you want to have, and you can do so, especially at the beginning. It's easy. It's up to you. But cash flow is going to determine whether that's what type of business you have. So you can have a business that says, I'm going to get the most level of sales, but if it's a low gross profit rate and you haven't got the system set up, then it's going to be a painful experience. Or you can have a business that you start growing, just start using that cash from the business it generates, setting up your business, your products that are profitable, and the business generates its own cash to be able to eventually pay you a salary, but also just fund the growth of the business. If you've got any questions along the way, I'm always available. Arnold Shields, my firm's called dullmanbateman.com.au, and love to hear from you soon.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Skyrock cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USPTO, từ LIêN, từ cho Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem thêm thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.